Hello, this is Tim Stutler. Welcome to a Goodlettsville Church production. Here in the fall of 2022, my wife and I had the joy of traveling to Israel. It was the first time that we were ever able to go. We traveled with Clayton King Ministries, with Clayton and Shari King, and 16 people from the Southeast United States. We had an incredible time. Our tour guide was Cyril Bar David of Yad Hashmanah Guest House. He was extraordinary. And so what I did, I filmed each one of these stops, filmed what he had to say, and we wanted to share those with you. We're calling this series The Lay of the Land. I hope that you enjoy it. Hey, welcome. This week in The Lay of the Land, we are now going outside of Jerusalem to the southwest, and we are going to the Valley of Elah. Maybe you remember that name, maybe you don't, but I'll give you a hint. Here it is. I am fairly confident that this is the stone that David used to kill Goliath, because I found it in the Valley of Elah. Yes, he took 5 smooth stones. He slung this one. I'm pretty sure it's this one. And he killed Goliath with that. The Valley of Elah is an interesting place on the border of the Philistines and their cities and the Israelites and their cities. It was a place where David would have been familiar, certainly Saul would have been familiar, and we see here that they were camped out as they were getting ready to fight one another. And so I invite you to join us in the Valley of Elah as David meets Goliath.
They are entering into the land of Israel more or less at the same time when the Israelites are coming after being 40 years in the desert. Okay, from both sides. So you have the Israelites coming from the east, you have the Philistines in the same century, 1 or 2 maybe before, already starting to come from the west. They are crossing the Mediterranean. They try to invade actually into Egypt. Remember, this is Canaan. They try to invade into northern Egypt. The Egyptians are not strong enough to destroy them, but they're strong enough to push them farther north. And actually the Egyptians are the ones that are mentioning, and they call them the Gentiles of the sea. This is how they call the Philistines. Yeah, people who are used to sail, and fight, I guess, the Middle Eastern Vikings. I don't know what you describe it as. But so they, since they were pushed up north through the Mediterranean, they reached Canaan. And you have here the Canaanites. And the Philistines are one of those nations that now enter inside, fight their way, I guess also against some of the Canaanite nations that were here. And they dwell where? In 5 cities, actually in more than 5 cities, but the Bible mentioned normally the 5 major cities, okay? Which are Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron, okay? All of them are there. Okay, if I need to point southwest to where we're standing, this is where the Philistines are. Normally, most of their cities. Again, there are some Philistines that are somewhere else. For example, where? Do you remember any biblical story with Philistines that are absolutely not here? Beit Shean, okay, which is in the Jezreel Valley, where the Jordan River goes down south. We're going to visit there too. It's far away in the north, but they are also dwelling there in that city that is mentioned as Beit Shean. And normally no one speaks about it, but it does speak about it suddenly when Saul eventually, he's in a war with them when he's dead actually. So we are here at the Elah Valley, and the Bible is telling us that the Philistines gathered their army for a war, and it says that they were gathering them to Socho, at Socho, which belongs to Judah. Okay, where is Socho? Socho, this bush over here is hiding Socho. But standing here and looking to those hills just opposite to us at the other side of the valley, you can see a nice round hill going down. This is Socho. Okay, it's an ancient city that was excavated. This is Socho. So it speaks.
That hill?
Yeah, that hill over there. Okay, there was some kind of a city up there, or at least an army base, if you can call it that way. So they gather it in Socho. It says at Socho. In Hebrew it says they were camping, okay, between Socho, that belongs to Judah, and Azekah. Azekah is this hill behind you, where all the trees are. This is Azekah. It's also the one of the sides. So we know the two sides. We know the two sides. We know Socho. We know Azekah. And it says that they were camping between the two in Ephes Damim, in a place called Ephes Damim. So if we have one side and we have a second side, it has to be between, probably somewhere where those trees are there, where this forest is, okay? Somewhere where there, maybe this road is crossing through, somewhere between those places they were camping. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathering, and they were camping in the Elah valley, and they were facing, in a sense, the Philistines. And the Philistines are standing in one side of the mountain, and the Israelites are at the other side on the mountain. And the valley is between them, between the two. So if the Philistines are camping on one of the hills here around us, and there is a valley, and then the Israelites, so the Israelites are probably up here. Okay? Now, it fits very well with the tribes that are here. The Philistines, as I said, their cities are behind those hills, to that direction. The Israelites are from these mountains and to the east, where Judah is. So this is exactly the contact place between the two nations, the Israelites and the Philistines. And there is a valley, and you can see there is a wide valley between the two. Now the valley goes all the way from there, and it circles us, and it goes down north, and then it turns west and goes all the way to the Mediterranean. So we estimate that the battle took place somewhere, again, somewhere around it. Probably in a spot where you can see the battle from Azekah. Again, remember there are Philistines there, there is an army base up there. They can see the battlefield. There is another Philistine camp. They can also see the battle, in the third camp where all the army is gathered, the Philistines' army. So they protect their army from both sides. So that's why I said that, you know, normally when you want to point at the place, you would say, okay, show me, I know, is there any evidence with the name itself that was found? Pottery. There is no pottery. There is nothing that was found here that, you know, it says the Elah Valley or anything like that. But just from the sites around us, we can understand that this is the valley. And again, I don't know if it was here or it was 100 meters to the right or left, but somewhere around here, the Israelites were camping on top of those hills, because it says that they are on a hill, and the valley is what was separating between the two. Now, it says, I'll go fast with the story again, because it's a long story, so we don't want to start to go to every verse. But we find that guy named Goliath, okay, and he is coming towards the Israelites, and he is, you know, armed with a helmet and with an armor and with a spear, and everything is very heavy, very, you know, beautiful, very impressive, I would say, a big guy. And he says, you know, well, I'm a Philistine, you are the slaves of Saul, and choose a man, he should come down, in a sense, towards me. And let's fight. And if he kills me, then we will be your slaves, and I will be able to hit him and kill him, and you will be our slaves. Okay? And he says, I disgrace, in a sense, the Israelites today, and just send someone and we can fight. Now, what is the response of the Israelites and Saul? Fear. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're terrified. They're terrified. They're camping up there, and no one is daring to challenge that giant. Again, how high was he? I don't know. But a big guy. And they're all afraid. Now suddenly the story changes completely, and it deals now with David, okay, who is from Bethlehem, the son of Jesse that had 8 boys. And 3 of Jesse's sons are here at the battlefield. Whereas Bethlehem, as I said, if you look as far as possible at the horizon, you can see there a ridge of mountains. Behind those mountains, down at the slopes there, this is where Bethlehem is, okay, all the way to the east. So
20 miles.
the three oldest sons are here. They are soldiers under Saul. And Jesse is sending David now, says, well, go take some cheese and bread and go down there and give it both to some of the officers and so on and to your brothers and see what's going on there. So David is coming over here, okay? So he leaves the flock. He was a shepherd. Remember, he is a boy, he's a young man. He leaves the shepherd, the sheep with the guard. This is what it says. And he goes all the way here and he sees the battlefield. He sees the Israelites, he sees the Philistines. And he comes down and he greets his brothers. And while he is speaking to them, to his brothers, these Philistines, right? Goliath is coming over here and do what he does every day. He shout, he curse, he mock them, and he challenge them to send someone towards here. And everyone, the Israelites are terrified. No one is daring to go down. They're all running away. This is, this is what it says in the Hebrew language. They're running away from here and they are terrified. And David is asking them, what will happen to the man that will kill this Philistine and will remove this disgrace basically upon Israel, this uncircumcised Philistines that is cursing the God of Israel, the living God of Israel, and the battle over here, the army of God of Israel. And they tell him what the king just promised before. He said, anyone that will kill him, I will make him very, very rich. This is what Saul was offering his men. Like Saul was telling them, okay, whoever will go down there to fight this giant, basically, I will make him very, very rich. And I will give him a daughter. The princess basically will be his wife. And he will be free man in Israel. What does it mean, free man? No taxes. Now, if I would offer you, listen, from now on, you shouldn't ever pay taxes in the United States. Any kind of taxes. Would you be happy?
Yes.
I guess we all would, right? Imagine that. If I would tell you, listen, I'm going to make you very rich and you never should pay any taxes and you will get married to the king's daughter. I think it's the most that the king can offer, right? There is nothing else that he can offer more than that. Does anyone go down? No. So we see that everyone is smart enough to say, what would it be worth if I'm dead, right? It won't help me, the wealth, the daughter, no taxes, I'm dead. So anyway, I won't pay any taxes if I'm dead. So, but David, he hear all those things, and his brother now, Eliav, it's the oldest brother, he understands that David start to ask those questions. What will happen, or what will be given, to the man that will go down and kill this Philistine, this Goliath. And what is Eliav's response?
He's mad.
Yeah.
He's mad, right? Why is he mad?
How dare his little brother ask such questions of the officer?
Because I'm arrogant.
Right, now now I want always to take you to the actual scene. Okay, and we always tend to read those verses again and to have some kind of image in our minds. If any of you now is a soldier in the American army, and you are sent to the battlefield, to the front line, and you are there armed with everything needed, Second World War, Vietnam, whatever you want to call it, Iraq, Afghanistan, and suddenly you will see your young brother coming there with his stick in his hand and telling you, listen, I'm gonna now charge over the Nazis or Al-Qaeda or ISIS or whatever. I'm gonna do that, don't worry. And what will be the price of the one who will kill Bin Laden? Let me do that. What would you tell your brother?
Shut up.
Shut up, go back home. I mean, I like to take those stories because we tend always to think that we know better because we already know the end of the story. But would we act differently than Eliab? Okay, I'm not sure. I'm just want to show some of the points of the story again. Now, did Eliab really cared about David? I don't think so. Okay, as you said, I don't think that the reason that Eliab was angry at David was because he really cared about his younger son. I don't think he said, no, you know, David, don't do that. You are a young boy. You don't really understand. And go back home. Although this is what he says, but it's not what he meant. How do we know that? Why do I say such a thing, that he didn't care for him?
Cursed him.
Sorry?
He cursed him.
Okay, you can be very angry at your brother and
Yeah.
curse him like, you stupid whatever, go back home.
He insulted him.
He
What
said,
else?
I know the evil in your heart. He calls David's heart evil.
Okay, so maybe he thinks that David is a stupid boy, in his youth, that whatever, he's excited to see blood, and he shouldn't be here anyway. But I would say that if he would really care about his young brother, the moment later on David is going down to fight the giant, he will
Who
tell
would've
his
taken
brother,
place, yeah.
move away, you stupid boy. I will go down there. I'm bigger than you, I'm stronger than you, I'm more experienced than you. At least I have some chance, maybe, to win that giant. You have no chance. So he doesn't do that. So we see that he doesn't really care about David, he cares about what David was just asking. He understands that there is something in David's character that he doesn't like. Now, is there anything more than that between the two? For sure.
Yeah.
What is that? There is a great thing stands between the two.
Maybe, yeah, and he's the youngest, maybe favorite, like
Okay, he's the youngest. We don't know if he's the favorite, but
This is
what happened the chapter before? There is a prophet named Samuel that goes down to Bethlehem, to Jesse's house, with oil in his hand, and he gets there, and he goes to Eliab, and he takes the oil, he see him, he's an impressive young man, maybe strong and beautiful, and he's about to put the oil on his head to anoint him to be the future king of Israel, and suddenly God is saying, no, he's not the one. I'm sure that Eliab was already thinking and dreaming of his seat and palace and everything, and the entire dream ends.
It's a similar story to Joseph in a way.
Yeah.
Not exactly.
Yeah, but over
in the
here it's
same
really, the closest that you can get to be the future king. There is no closer than that, when the oil is already up above your head. And eventually we see over there that God is telling Samuel, don't do that, don't look at the appearance of this man, right? I'm God, I'm looking into the heart. And the Hebrew words concerning what God was telling Samuel when he was about to anoint him, he's saying, that I got sick of him, in the Hebrew language, of Eliab. I see his heart and I don't like him. Okay, it's strong words in Hebrew. So God doesn't like Eliab. And he doesn't want him to be the future king, and he chose David. Now, Eliab and Jesse and the brothers, they know that now David was anointed. They were there when it happened. So when you have your young brother that was already anointed, and you were the one that was supposed to be anointed, you are the oldest, the most important guy at home, and now your brother is coming over here, and now he's the one that offering himself, in a sense, to go down and fight and get the king's daughter and become wealthy, rich, whatever. He is angry. He's not happy with what his brother is doing. And again, it's not because of, I don't think it's because of any love that Eliab or care had towards his brother.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think the heart connects it all? So if God sees Eliab's heart as being wicked or evil or whatever the harsh word is in Hebrew, and then it says right here that he then sees David's heart as being evil, but then God describes David as a man after his own heart. It seems like all those things are kind of like presenting to us like this idea of who has the character.
Of course.
And that the heart connection here is that they're all being characterized by that one thing, by that phrase.
Yes, of course. God sees into the heart. I would say that. And he sees each one's heart. And we look outside, we look at someone, what he say, the way he acts. God says, no, it's all, people can fool each other. They can't fool me. I know much better than that. So I look at their hearts, and according to someone's heart, this is how I choose things. And many times we won't understand that because we see something else. We think something else. So we would ask ourselves, how is it possible that God is acting as A or B? But God knows much better. We don't. We think that we know. So, as you said, it's all about the heart. And we see, and again, I'm going with the story, eventually they get to the point that Saul, David is offering himself basically to go and fight there, and Saul said, "No way, you can't go there." And David is saying, I know I'm able, capable to do it. I'm a shepherd, when the lion came and the bear came and so on, I was there standing, defending my flock. I mean, who is that Philistine? Who is this giant in a sense? This uncircumcised Philistine. He's not better than any of those animals, the bear and the lion that I already killed when they came towards me. He says, basically, God, Yahweh, this God, He saved me. He is with me. I mean, He's my weapon, my special technology. It's God. And I can get down there to the battlefield because I have this iron dome, in a sense, with me. And we see that Saul is in a spot, I would say that you would expect, remember, the entire future of the nation of Israel now is on the shoulders of the man that will go down there. If he loses that battle, they are all slaves. But they are so fearful up there that they are willing to send this young man. Again, how young? I would guess 16, 17. I don't think he was younger than that. I don't think he was 10 years old or something like that, because otherwise they wouldn't even try to put the helmet and the armor of Saul on him. It wouldn't work. But he was probably a young man, not very strong, maybe not very tall, so not very impressive in that sense. But he tried to walk with that. You see that he can't be fast, he's a shepherd. He's used to run and jump and very flexible, fast. You see that he can't do that. It's too heavy, it's too big. So he said, I don't want that. I'll go down there without anything. And I would say that they were so desperate, the nation, that they are willing to let such a boy, such a young man, to go and fight their fight. Now,
Wouldn't it be also that, David's been out with the sheep. He's been praising the Lord, writing songs, and then also warrior, taking care of the bears, and so he hasn't been listening to fear. He's been proactive, like a direct connection, vertical connection. But they have been listening to the fear. So he's coming out and he's
it's true. I think, we can say maybe he was naive. Maybe he was a young man that didn't experience yet death and many other things that we then take in our life as fears. But he's willing to go down there and fight. And he picked 5 stones. Okay, he goes down here to the brook. This is the brook that we have. It's dry, but he was picking 5 stones from this brook below us. And why 5?
Our brothers.
Okay. I would say I don't know. Okay, I don't know why 5. There are all different theology concepts about the number 5. Everything is fine. Whatever you choose, go with it. I would say that if any of you, was serving in the army or in the police or whatever, and you have your pistol and you have a magazine and you go for a battle, as a Christian, you go for a battle. You are now in Second World War, and you get a gun and you go to a battle, and you have 20 bullets that you can put in your magazine. How many bullets would you take? 20, right? Now you can trust God, you can believe that He can do miracles, and still, I guess, you will take as many bullets as possible in your magazine. And I think that, again, from a practical point of view, David, he trusts God for sure. He just said that. He's willing to go down there. Well, we see at the end of the story that it was enough to have 1 stone, right? So he didn't need to have 5 of them, but still he takes 5. I think from a practical point of view, and this is the way I see it, we always should be practical together with the faith in God. Okay? David could say, what? I would walk with nothing down there. Well, God can hit him to strike him with the lightning. It's true, but still, he took his sling, he took 5 stones. If he would miss one, he would have a second one. If he would miss the second, he would have a third. He have few so-called bullets in his sling, in his magazine. So this is the way I see it. Again, practical thing fit into his faith and trust in God. And when the giant Goliath, when he sees him, he is shocked. You know, he's embarrassed in a sense. What's that? You know, it's me, Goliath, the giant, you know, this great warrior. And you send me a boy with a stick. Am I a dog? You know, really disgrace towards myself. And he curses David, and he says, you know, I'm going to kill you, and I will give your flesh to the bird of the sky, and so on. And David is telling him, you come to me, you know, with a sword, with a spear, and so on, but I'm coming to you against you with the name of Yahweh, the God of Israel, that you have cursed in a sense. And God will deliver you in my hands, and I will hit you, kill you, and I will remove the head of your head in a sense. I will give your dead body to the birds of the sky. And everyone would know that there is a God to Israel. Again, it's all about God. Remember that. It's not about David himself. It's not about the Philistines. It's not about Goliath. Is there a God to Israel that can save the people of Israel? Is there a God that we can trust or not? That's the entire thing of that battle, is God is with us or not. And we see that the giant, okay, goes towards David, and David is running towards him. He sees him coming towards him, but he doesn't go backwards. He runs towards him, and he takes the sling, he shoots, and it hits the giant Goliath in his forehead, and he falls down. And David is running, since he doesn't have any sword. He takes Goliath's sword and he cuts off his head, lifts his head, I guess. Both armies sees that the giant just lost. I'm sure that both of them are amazed and shocked and surprised. None of them thought that David would win that battle, but he does. And the Israelites then are chasing the Philistines all the way back to their cities and killing many of them and taking over, actually winning that battle. Now, as I said, we all know this story, very famous story. Now you can see also the landscape where it took place. I want to add one or two more things. When you think of this battle, who was the one that was supposed to go down here, and why?
Saul.
Okay, we all agree that it's Saul. Why?
He's the great warrior. He's the great king.
He's a king. He's a warrior.
He's God's anointed.
He's God's anointed. What else? I will go on with a different question. When David uses his own sling and he shoots, in a sense, towards the giant's head, very sensitive question. Is it his skills as a shepherd to hit that forehead, or is it God that hits that forehead?
He gives credit to God.
Both.
Well, that's
Yeah.
I agree. It's both. I mean, if you would take David now and you will put a can of beer with a sling and you would shoot that, you think he will be able to hit that? Probably he can, right? I mean, this is what he did all his life. As a shepherd, you go with that sling, you shoot around the flock, you don't hit them. You just hit beside them when you want them to join all together and to go on. This is what he do all his life. I know, 10 years, 12 years as a young boy. So he's used as if you will have a guy with a pistol that the whole day go and shoot at stuff, you know, in his yard. He know how to shoot his pistol. So from, again, practical point of view, he can do that. Okay? Now, if you take those men that are up there camping in the army of the Israelites, are there any other people that can do the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, we spoke about Saul. Can Saul do that? Now, whatever you tell me, use the scriptures in order to support it.
Well,
He's a warrior.
yeah. Somebody was hard really crazy.
Goliath's music.
Yes, Goliath's music. Well, he was a people pleaser.
Okay, but from the skills of using a sling, okay,
Yes, he had killed his thousands.
okay, but was it with a sling?
No.
Okay, so I want to go on. We said that Saul is the guy that's supposed to go down here. He's the king, he's the anointed one, he's the experienced warrior. He's also the tallest. This is what the Bible is telling us.
Yeah.
If you match, you know, when you... Watch out. Would you like to do the tour like that? Next time, give you
Next
4
time.
wheels.
We'll add that to on the back end of our trip.
Yeah. When you just measure, you know, if you have now heavyweight MMA
Yeah, he's
fight,
like a match.
you don't let a lightweight enter with a heavyweight. You match the two weights. So you would say, I would expect at least that the tallest guy, which the Bible speaks of, Saul,
Head and shoulders above
will
the
go
rest.
down and match the tallest guy of the Philistines. I don't know if he was the tallest, but at least he's a tall guy. About the sling, we read in Judges, okay, that the tribe of Benjamin, they were experts with slings. How experts? They could cut a hair of someone's with their sling. That's how accurate they were. From which tribe was Saul?
Dan.
Tribe of Benjamin.
Benjamin, I mean.
So he had all the skills, everything. You would say, if we need to prepare a warrior for that battle, to be strong, trained, tall, to know to use his weapon, it's all in Saul. He has it, everything. And still he's afraid to go down. And I would say that, again, from a spiritual point of view, so many times you have those people that God is, in a sense, is blessing them with everything, but they do nothing. They don't move on. They don't let God use them the way He wants to use them. And at the same time, you can see someone else who doesn't necessarily have all those gifts that you would say that you should have in order to do something, okay? But still, God is working through their hearts, and He can use them to do whatever He wants in a matter that other person could have done it much better in a sense, but he didn't do it. So it's really amazing to see the differences between David and Saul in this specific battle. I think this is the point, actually, that God really shows who is the future king. But we will talk about it tomorrow. That wasn't enough. I mean, the fact that David killed Goliath, it was, from one hand, something that had to be done. From the other hand, if that would be the thing that the next now David is king, probably he will be corrupted as Saul at the end. So God's saying, yeah, the fact that you won Goliath and now everyone is in love with you and you are people's hero and people are worshiping you, well, I don't want that to happen actually. It's a bad thing. You know what? You're going to spend now, 10 years running for your life as a wanted man in order to teach you what is really to be a man and a king that I want you to be. Not after killing the giant. And tomorrow we'll follow David, when he's running for his life. And actually all those Psalms that you read, this broken heart of a man that is hiding, this is what David would go through. Although he did so-called whatever he had to do, he did it, still, God said, the plan is not ready yet for you to become a king. So,
thank you for joining us for the Lay of the Land and the Valley of Elah. We hope that you enjoyed this series. Feel free to check out our other videos as we explore Israel, the Holy Land.